Hey guys, this is Dardamos with Dardamos Dominions. Things may look a little different because we are back with Clash of Titans, and Gazlov has supplied me the turns. Gazlov, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
And with us today is Rosia. How are you doing, Rosia?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Now, we're going to be going away from the Omniscience turn and only looking at this game through Valheim. And one of the things I want to do is kind of get a better chance of looking at and explaining this bless. So, do you mind doing that, Gazlov?
Yeah, so the bless is mostly centered around what cross paths I like to have. I like to have Earth and Astral, and I like to have Earth and Blood, and then Nature and Astral. Now, what that tends to get, and then I get some points to play around with something else, and I just threw it on fire for some attack skill, which is always handy. But so with those cross paths and with those points, first of all, the precision +3 is from a throne. That's not normal in my bless. But yeah, I'll take the magic weapons just because, you know, ethereal is a pretty good counter to your choppy Vanheers. But then I like the larger bless because it gives you a lot of synergetic things. It gives you more hit points, and since your guys go berserk, you need to be able to take more hits. What would be better than the hit points would be something like Bark Skin, but then you end up giving up a lot of other points for things because you got to have an awake or a dormant. So I like Bark Skin. It also gives you +2 map move, which is a lot handier than you might think. It frequently changes your map movement from 1 province per square to 2 for your slow ass Vanheers. It gives you, while it does reduce your attack density, it spreads your guys out so you have more battlefield coverage. It makes it harder for enemies to kind of get around you to your very few mages that you're going to tend to field with Vanheim. And it gives you the strength. So you get +3 damage, ×2, because you have 2 attacks. And then you got Blood Surge, and Blood Surge tends to synergize better with larger units than smaller units. The reason for that is when you have 3 units in a square, the first guy will get the kill and he'll Blood Surge, and then the second guy might get the kill, but then the third guy is left not hitting anything or attacking anything. And so it's really good to have Blood Surge on size 3 or 4 units. And then some fire resistance just because, again, I was going with the attack skill anyhow.
Rosia, the one of the big things I was talking about with Gazlov about his bless with this is the larger. How do you feel towards that?
It's a very efficient bless in a lot of circumstances because it gives you both strength and hit points. For a non-incarnate, it's relatively cheap. And sometimes you can dip into additional magic like poison resistance, which can be very important in a lot of matchups, as Gazlov has done here. So I think that larger is a pretty respectable choice.
It's really weird because I've talked to people about larger and they dislike the fact that you get fewer units in a square. And while
the main downside would be attack density, but one of the things with Vanheers is outside of very specific matchups, Vanheers don't care that much if they have less attack density because they're so killy anyway that against most opponents they're just gonna they're gonna wipe out whatever's in front of them regardless.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Gazlov, you said the same thing, like the attack density just doesn't matter, right?
Not for these units. Now, I mean, it can matter in other places. And that's where a lot of people get these myths that they, it's like, oh man, you take larger, you lose this attack density, and you're just really gimping yourself. And it's like, well, not in this case. In this case, it is a very useful thing to put on your Vanheers. And in fact, I was in a game currently where I just wiped out one of those critics. He really believed that larger bless is a very noobish thing to take on these guys, and I mean, he was a very easy kill for me. Incredibly easy. One of the easier fights I've had, in fact.
So
Yeah, I would say there's very few matchups where larger is a downgrade. Maybe a couple specific counter elite nations would be able to capitalize on it, but it's not very likely.
now I don't know, Gazloff, if we might have actually gone through. I thought we started at like ended at turn 12, but I thought aren't you going to war with Marverni here?
Oh yeah. As I said in one of my one of the episodes we did when we had the omniscience going on, is that Marverni is probably the most dangerous nation to me, just because of they're a very strong astral nation, and astral nations are very, very good at killing elite troops. Soul Slay is pretty nasty.
Now you don't know where his cap is. Are you planning on doing like a general attack across the board? How is this attack? How are you going to go from these 2 to these 4?
So I wasn't really going for his capital. I figured I'd run into it eventually. At this point, I have an agreement with Helheim to also slaughter him. And Helheim actually approached me, and I was going to attack him anyhow. So of course, this sounds like a good deal.
What's interesting is this is Helheim here and Helheim up here. So both of these places are him. So he looks humongous to me.
Yeah, he made me nervous, but I still felt that Marverni was the bigger threat.
If I may say, on some of these maps, especially with how the roads are laid out, people can be surprisingly thin or stretched out north, south, or east, west compared to what you would expect on a different map with a different layout.
We looked on Omniscience, and I think you're right, Rosie. I think he got he was not as large as what this implies. I think he's been at war with Marverni for a turn or 2 now, though.
Yeah, he got the jump on him before I did. I wanted to take this throne before I went to war. I didn't know what it was, but I thought it'd be more useful than that, but it wasn't. The growth is nice, especially since I only have growth 1 on my skills. Now, growth 1, while not great, isn't that awful in early age. Mostly because it's a low population era. It doesn't make as big a difference as it would in, say, like late age. Even middle age, I tend to go growth 3.
Yeah, I like growth. I like growth 2 because of the thrones that I usually take in the games. Normally I get to pick the thrones because I'm running the games, and so like the level 2s really lend itself to the growth 2, or in your case, even growth 1. I think you could end up getting away with if you go late game. But the thing about growth is it's a percentage, so I don't really mind taking high growth either way because you're getting a percentage boost to your income every single turn. Why aren't you like trying to be like sneaky elf coming through trying to find his cap and then just taking him bam in 1 turn?
Well, because I got kind of a late start against him. I didn't want Helheim getting a lot of territory, so I just did a conventional attack.
Are you at peace with everybody else? Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Sweet. Let's move on to turn 14. I like these. I'm starting to really enjoy doing the non-omniscience turns because the turns just burn through so quickly. That being said, you just attacked 5 different places. And it looks like everything kind of won. Now, there is a war going on between Pan and Ubar. Do you know what's going on here?
No, but I'm actually rooting for Pangea in this situation.
Why is that?
Well, so I did some testing with Kirby, and I think he's actually the one playing Ubar,
He is.
and his Gen Warriors did very well against my Vanhirs.
Wait, where's?
May
In
I
fact,
ask
I
a
think
question
he may
here?
have won.
Yeah.
So that kind of struck fear in my heart.
What's
May
up,
I
Rosie?
ask
Yeah.
a question?
Yeah, jump
Did
in.
you consider taking magic weapons and spirit sight the second you saw Ubar enter the game?
Well, I generally take magic weapons. I don't take spirit sight because I don't need death for anything. So I would have to take death 4
Well,
and
Death 3
then
would
astral
yeah.
5.
Yeah, that's
It would be an issue if you started next to Ubar. However.
Yeah, Rosia. I mean, do you think that it's like a tax with if there's an Ubar in the game, you automatically have to take Spirit Sight?
I did not do that in my game, but I am pretty confident in my. I'm also playing a Vanheim in a game. Ubar is actually in the game, but I'm nowhere close to them, so I didn't have to worry about it. But my build was pretty substantially different. I have much tankier sacreds, but it's at the same time much more expensive, so I didn't actually have to worry as much about Gen Warriors or the likes. I think there's a lot of nations that do really have to worry about it because they don't have sacreds like Vanhirs, which you can gear them in a couple of different ways probably to kill Jin. For example, someone like Marverni even would have serious issues dealing with Jin warriors, especially early, I think, if they don't take Spirit Sight. So I think it is a tax, and I think the nation has probably one other thing that's very cancer about it, which are called shaitans, which are not even remotely like they're not actually overpowered, but they're the kind of thing where you run up into them in the game and you think they're very overpowered.
This series is coming right after the series I had on an Ubar series with Coconut, and we got to see the power of Shaitans, and they are disgustingly good. I think he ended up like corrupting a milk cart or something like that. It's just like
unlike normal seducers, which are versus 9 morale, I believe. The corruption is versus 13 morale, so you are very much more likely to succeed, and it can be conducted against either gender with equal chances of success. So it's probably 2 or 3 times stronger at just straight up stealing people compared to normal seduction.
So Gaslov, you tested against Ubar. Did you still deal some damage to him? Like, was it still what was the toll paid for that?
Yeah, it was kind of even, and that's something I didn't like.
I don't think he's gonna like it either. So,
I don't. Yeah, they do okay. And the thing is, I don't remember if they have shields or not, but I think in theory you could use indie archers to damage them.
I don't think they do.
And then that breaks their invisibility. So you could theoretically get away without taking Spirit Sight.
But you've got better options, and so does he. And that's what I like. Is that, I mean, to me, that's a safe border as long as it's a good player. And this was like we got the best players I could possibly get my hands on for this game. And so I think that a good Ubar player is going to look for somebody else. So I think that your choice, and Rosia, with what you said, is you didn't pay that tax either, and I think that's a good idea. Now, this is Marverni's capital at this point. How are you feeling? Oh my goodness, this barbarian stack just went away. Do you remember that, Gaslov, from last turn? There was like a pile of barbarians here.
Oh, was it? Yeah, was it Marverni's? Was it their mercs or something?
It was.
Yeah, I know he was fighting Helheim pretty ferociously. So I really came out ahead on this because Helheim paid most of the price in the war, and then I ended up getting a lot more out of it.
Is he going to demand the cap?
He didn't. And
Really?
The reason he didn't demand the cap is because he wanted me the big bad player early, so that people would coalition against me instead of him.
You know what's funny is the more that I watch these games from this perspective, where I'm not in the mix, I realize that that's not often true. That normally when you're big, people are scared of you and they're less likely to go to war with you.
Well, individually. But I know a lot of people, this is a kind of a king of the hill type game, and the perceived leader tends to get coalitioned against.
Yeah, I definitely think you're going to be more likely at war, but I don't think it's as big of a deal. As long as you start winning hard, you can usually win harder from the lead position. Now, granted, I mean, I do watch some. I watch your games. I watched Coconut's games, and I watch Lucid's games and Sakine's on YouTube, and those games, it always seems like the front runner stays as the front runner throughout the game. What's your perspective, Rosia? I mean, is it something where the front runner is the good position, or is it a liability?
The front runner is definitely in a good position. Obviously, if you have an advantage early, that's to your advantage. But it doesn't guarantee you a win by any stretch of the imagination. You can be coalitioned if you jump out to an early lead, depending upon how seriously people are taking the game. In a more serious game, people will be talking to each other and doing Diplo and trying to trade, and they'll figure out who's bigger, and they can coalition people if they think that they're going for a win. In a smaller game especially, I think the front runner has a bigger advantage, because if you get an early lead, the proportion of the resources on the map that you can monopolize is much larger than in, say, like a 40-person game or something ridiculous like that, where if you take out one or two other players, there's probably somebody else on the map who has done the same thing. So having one clear front runner is less likely.
I like what you said too. It depends on the time that you're playing. If you get a huge lead early on, it's going to scare people because they don't have a lot of forces. Where later on they kind of can deal with with your size with magic.
Yes, and it does depend upon which nation you are, I think, as well. I think people might be more hesitant to deal with, say, an Ubar that they haven't designed a bless to kill, right? Because there's a certain level of how am I going to deal with Shaitans, or how am I going to deal with unseen ethereal stuff, And nations like Airmore, people coalition because they understand how much more frustrating they will be to deal with later, even if maybe they also know that once they have magic researched, it's easier to kill them. They still go to kill them early because they don't want Airmore ruining the land, right?
Yeah, that's definitely what I always like, is that the longer it takes you to kill Airmore, the less you get. It's one of those weird oddities. But yeah, it is really interesting to see the psychology behind who's going to attack who. Now, Geslov, you said that he's pretty much given you the okay to take Marverni. Are you worried about what he has in his capital right now?
Not right now.
Okay.
I'm not too worried until he gets Soul Slay, and he needs Thom 5 for that. Now, going back to the coalition thing, just two examples. One, the other game we've been, discussing, where we have Abyssia, who's now been attacked by, who was it? Both
Asphodel is
Nabal. Yeah, Asphodel and Nabal.
Rosia, you know this already, correct? We're not giving any spoilers to you, since you're the
game. I did not actually know that.
Okay, sorry.
So we can't talk about it too much. But the thing is, so he was the perceived leader. We kind of, a lot of people seem to think that, and I think that factored into how easy it was for these two guys to get together and team up against him.
There definitely was a perspective, and what's interesting is, Rosia, I mean, you hit Airmore rather than a live territory. Did you feel that Airmore was in the lead at that point?
I had the feeling that they would It seemed to me at the time that I decided to attack Airmore that they had a substantial chance of taking out either Mictlin or Satis, just based on what information I had, and I decided that I did not want either of those two outcomes.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing is that I think that's what he's doing here is that the Helheim player which is Chuman is trying to make sure that he's not the perceived one, because like you said, you saw that Airmore may take Satis's cap and then that would put him in a substantial lead. I think that might be what Chuman's idea or goal is here. Now, interestingly enough, he attacked back, and you only attacked one province. I'm kind of surprised because you had the ability to attack 3. Oh my goodness! Did he push you?
Well, what happened here is he pushed me back.
Okay.
With his attack.
God, look at that! Like such a small force compared to a big. I wonder if there's something about being glamored that makes you more likely to be pushed. Is this guy supposed to be charging forward, dude?
Yes. He has air shield on, correct? Well, he's PD anyhow.
No, this is him attacking. You were expecting PD though.
No, that Van Hers is a PD commander.
Oh. Is it?
No, it's not. Dude.
Yeah. No, it's not.
And not only that, you lost him.
Wow, that's embarrassing.
Thanks for sharing your files with us, dude. This is embarrassing.
I think he was unscripted because he fired his weapon.
Oh my goodness! Did he get? Wait, what?
Maybe he bled to death. Maybe the replay is bugged.
Replay's got to be bugged.
Version, maybe.
Yeah, replay is bugged.
Yeah, there's something weird going on here.
So any other time, dude, you'd have been just fine. Man, Joe Brandon, he pushed you with 6 guys and then killed your leader. Man, that's impressive.
You gotta watch out for him, man. He's
that's all part of the plan. Just make sure you're on the right version, otherwise you're not gonna win. Now, is this scary? I mean, did anything get pushed back that shouldn't have, or that should have been in this fight?
No, I don't think so. I think this was all I hit him with.
Okay.
I think the other group was going to attack.
Was he spamming luck and stuff?
I don't see any luck spams, but I might have missed it at the beginning.
No, I don't know. I can't see it as well as I would like.
Like, what's nice is the scripting should stay the same. So that's blessing, and what is this guy? Hold on.
Is that guy mute? Oh no, you're just selecting a different one.
Yeah, I don't really know what he's doing because he's got a Stargazer here as well.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? Okay, that's another blessing. That's Starfire. So I don't know what he's doing with this other than maybe like a last ditch attempt.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. He traded okay, aside from the PD money, but I think that was free.
Considering
so I've seen worse trades into Van here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not terrible. Geslop, did you take more losses than you expected?
Yeah, it can go either way sometimes when hitting capitals. Yeah, this is an unfortunate outcome, though. He's pretty much locked down at this point, and I have a bunch of guys still coming up the rear.
Yeah, I don't think you're in any destroyed, but I don't know if you were expecting to pay the toll that you just paid, if that makes sense. Because you just lost a leader, which on Vanheim is painful, and then 12 Vanheers. But at the same time, that's like, what, 1 turn of recruitment for a cap? Like maybe 2 turns? That's not bad.
Yeah, because I'm spitting out 9 a turn.
You're spitting out 9 a turn?
Yes, he did have Dominion Strength 9. I don't know if you...
that is nuts! So you've got 9 of these little guys coming out every single turn. You just lost like less than a turn and a third. This is wonderful. Is the war over at this point?
I think it is.
Okay, then let us push
And
forward.
unless there's a lot of
Okay, then let us push
and
forward.
unless there's a lot of Marverni stuff inside the fort is over.
the Ubar game we just got done with. The guy was summoning things and like his recruitment was one of this and one of that. It looked like an AI group. I'm expecting something a lot better from Joe Brandon. I feel bad because he didn't just get elfed, dude. He got double elfed. Are you just
The classic desperation break siege with a single horse tribe chief.
Okay, so he tried to he did desperation moves. Okay, and you're starting to get these you're trying to get these Berks for what reason?
Siege strength.
Yeah.
Hey Galdavir, how are you doing, dude?
Have you considered ever taking like a dwarf, moving it to a cave, and then just spending your earth gems making cave grub? Because I have considered that before, but I'm not sure how good of a move that is.
It takes a surprisingly long time to get going. I mean, it's 500 gold in an unprotected province. Well, that's not a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've done it once, and I kind of regretted it.
I've considered it before, but on some of the elf nations, I think it might be worthwhile. Maybe not in this position.
Okay, let's go to 17 because this one was kind of boring. Okay,
Well,
what's interesting is
lock stuff down.
Gazov. I mean, the thing I did was the what are the air what is
The
it?
birds?
Earth air?
The Great Eagles?
Call the winds.
Hold on, I can look it up real quick because they're right here. No, they're under construction. Corpseman construction.
Oh, you're not gonna get those on Van.
No, that's a Helheim thing though.
Well, I mean, if you get one of these guys and he randoms, I know we're
Yeah.
talking about. If you randoms,
he needs a 10% random though.
Is it that way? Oh wait, no, it's Earth Death.
Yeah,
Isn't
you
it? No, you
need
can get
air
it
and
on
death.
your
But
Vanadrots.
yeah, I don't know if you want to use a cap only mage for that.
You get Vanadrots.
You don't want Vanadrots making these crappy ass.
Yeah, you mostly make the dwarves, I
Vanadrots.
think, and then you make a few Vanadrots for Storm or something.
It is, huh? Because I did get a bunch of them while I was prepping for war. So I was moving. I had like those guys just sitting around doing nothing. So I was making a couple of them in my Vanheim game, but they were like you said, it's kind of like cave grubs. You're just they're kind of not worth your time. I think is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, not here. If I can find the Bone Tribe, I'll make them.
It's more so the mage that you'd have to use and spend time and gold to make the mage specifically for that use seems kind of wasteful.
What? Oh, okay.
I didn't mention this about the larger bless. That is one more thing that it has going for it is that it makes your Vanheir siege a little better because it's your strength squared divided by 100 or something like that.
It's strength divided by 10 squared. So if you have 10 strength, it's 1. If you have 20 strength, it's 4.
That's really nice. I mean, it looks like you crack this in one turn. You're going to crack this in probably 2 turns unless he has something in there. What's your thoughts of what's your plans after this turn?
So I was looking around the map, and now it's like, okay, I'm about to have a second cap. That's about to put a big fat target on me. Who is likely going to coalition against me? And I was thinking it would be, I think Yomi and Machaka. And so I had a nap with both of these guys. I ended up ending my nap with Yomi. I decided I was going to go for him first.
Oh, for Agrippa.
And so around this point, I think the minute I stormed the capital of Marverni, I end my nap with Yomi.
Okay. But Machaka is
I'm on a clock right
with
now,
you, then.
for sure.
Because, like, look at this. Machaca, where is he going with this? I would
The
assume
throne.
this is territory. Oh, he's going
He's going for the
here.
throne.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness. Like, that's so many turns. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns just to get a throne. And that's that's, like, probably everything he has. God.
Yeah, if you notice, I think Machaca and Pangea fight a little bit.
I'm sorry, where is he going?
He's going to this
For the
throne
throne.
down here.
Yeah, that's 3 provinces from his cap, right?
Well, he's got to
Is he
go
on the
back,
12?
too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then wherever he wants to go from there. Unless he attacks
Oh.
you. I mean, the thing is, if he goes here, he goes 1, 2, 3, attack. So next turn, if he ends nap with you, that'd be a really good idea. Hey, Carol, how are you doing, dude?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing wonderful. We're going over the Vanheim turns, and this is kind of an interesting play. Galdavir, I mean, you've been watching, dude. Would you have gone after this throne with your entire army?
Without knowing the diplomatic situation on what's going on between Machaca and Pangea, like if I felt secure in that Pangea wasn't going to stab me in the back with a million white centaurs once sees that my army is distracted by a throne, then I'd feel comfortable with it, because I would definitely be thinking, like Gazlov said, it would be turning around and trying to team up on Vanheim, because Vanheim at this point in the game is the only one with 2 caps, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right, dude. And that's what's interesting. I think that's would be my one thing. If I'm going here, I better be attacking Vanheim thereafter. Okay, so you're going to be heading after Yomi soon. Let's turn into turn 19. Well, we are burning through these turns. Okay, and we have the fortress battle. And, is this scary at all, Geslov?
No, not at all. And again, the thing that's scary are the stargazers. You know, they get a communion going, and then they soul slay the crap out of all your elite units.
I just feel really bad because I had my bets on Joe Brandon winning this game, and then the double elf just is like, yeah, I don't care who you are, that's a loss.
I do think it's a little bit painful to be standing under all the javelin fire with your sacreds. Or slingers, or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not great.
There's also archers as well, so yeah, you lost all those marcadas. That's sad.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. Overall, the mercs did what they were there for. They died.
Okay, so that is probably the end of Marverni, except for his Water Nation. Now, I hear that he ends up becoming a Water Nation, and he stays in the game, right?
Yeah, he stays in it to the very end.
Does he? That's really cool. I really appreciate that he did that. Because, yeah...
Did he profit somebody to make extra temples, I guess? Just so that he wouldn't get...
Yeah, Helheim... Chuman spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to kill him in the water, and never got around to it completely.
No, I mean, I'm assuming that we probably won't see some of this, so it's a spoiler, but not. Does Joe Brandon fight back? Does he like create indie?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, sweet heavens! I need to get his turn so we can have the indie underwater fights. This would be amazing. Now I did see something.
So he doesn't get a fort underwater, right? How does he even make stuff?
Well, he makes a deal with Yomi, and Yomi gives him a province.
That's a strange move.
Oh my goodness, that is so Grippa in a nutshell right there. Just for the memes, okay? I mean, how does he go underwater?
You can imagine my surprise when I got up there and I saw Marverni right next to Yomi's capital. I'm like, what the? What's this dude doing up here?
It's wonderful. Okay, so Machaca is definitely.
Wait, he gave him a cap circle province?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude. It blew my mind.
I mean, the only thing that you really need your cap circle for, Yomi, is just getting enough resources that you can get out your Diones.
Well, it also means if somebody goes and they kill Marverni, then they're checking your cap once they reach their last province, right?
Yeah, and so that's kind of a very weird move because it's going to put you in a very awkward position if that happens.
Maybe Yomi was looking for a pocket disciple.
That's I think what he's doing, Galdavir. Not only that, but Grippa kind of plays the game for fun. Where I mean, he does try to win, but he does enjoy. I know that he does some of the more silly things in the game, like his quickness, swiftness, bless.
He's a bit of a memer, we might say.
Yeah.
That bless used to be better, and then they made swiftness different, and they gave it plus defense, and I'm sad.
I think he's newer to the game, so it's not even like a holdover from Dom 4. He just wanted to see how fast he could make those horses.
Earlier in Dom 5, swiftness used to have the same speed effect without the defense, but it was only air 2, so you could stack it 5 times.
Oh, jeez.
So you could get 144 combat speed White Centaur.
I mean, when you guys play,
they
does
moved
anybody
so
actually...
fast.
What's this, sorry?
They moved so fast that it was actually slower to fly from one end of the battlefield to the other than it was for him to run there.
Have any of you guys, do you guys play where you do something diplomatically more for fun or more for enjoying the game, or is the Diplo normally, diplomatically, the goal is just to win?
All the time.
Goal is usually to win.
Okay. What'd you say, Kara? What'd you say?
Oh, I do things for fun all the time. Like I like to win, but like in particular, like if someone is killing me, I will make sure they regret it as much as possible for my own enjoyment, without like worrying about winning the game at that point if I think I'm already dead.
That's fair enough, and maybe that's what Yomi's trying to do, is like give a fighting chance and being a thorn in Helheim's side. Because from what you said, Gazlov, he does keep fighting, right?
Yeah, he does.
And so that's a front that Helheim is never going to close. So.
Yeah, I want to say about 2 games ago that I played, I was playing as Therados, and I was going in against a war against Xibalba, who was in another war with, not Lanka, but the other monkey nation, Kailasa, I think it is. And so what ended up happening is that I ended up pushing off Xibalba off of Kailasa's territory, and I got to decision like, okay, I can either finish eating Kailasa and get that cap and be stuck in a landbound nation or stuck in a land fort that I have no way of getting anything out of, or I can keep Kailasa alive and then have him just feed me gems and gold and eventually get him strong enough to where he can help me kill off the rest of the pretenders and at the very least add as a distraction for another player.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me of actually with Gazlov, there was I think we mentioned it on stream previously, in a late age game where I was Pythium and they were playing as Midgard. We both got kind of screwed by our neighbors after we were in an early war with each other, and we both just stopped fighting each other basically and just started screwing over all of the people who were invading us both.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that this is a good stopping point. The time kind of got away from me there for a second, so I want to thank everybody who joined up. It was kind of fun to have people trickle in again. It feels like the good old days. Galdavir, thank you so much for joining.
Always a pleasure.
Gazlov, thanks for sharing these turns, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, no problem.
Kara, thanks for joining up with us.
Yeah, I saw people around.
And Rosia, thank you for joining up.
Thank you for having me.
I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.